This is the reading for the Libra Female single for February. That's Valentine's month here for 2018. Now, I use the Romance Tarot deck and the Sex and Love Tarot deck. The 3 cards in the roof will symbolize your next significant meeting. So you may be single during the time of February or Valentine's, but this will highlight things within the next relationship coming in. The 4 cards that are in the house are really highlighting the issues and things that go on once the relationship is in full bloom. So you may be coming across this reading before you even know what the hell's going on. Just to let you know that. But nonetheless, we'll start out here of the next relationship. The first card I get in the romance is for the Emperor. So we could have the energy. I'm getting a very strong sense here too from the Libra female that it could be her energy. She's acting or coming from a sense of standing up for herself and taking no shit from no one. So the reason I have that is because next we have the World 21. So we may have come on the heels. This is kind of a signifier saying, you know, there's a strong energy here that we had to enforce our power and complete a cycle that we had going on. And it is complete. The lessons have been learned and we're free to move forward. But that energy is a very strong hold. And I'm saying the energy, not of the partner, but of you coming to the energy that you're coming to at the end of that relationship. Because it's a really powerful force, like putting the foot down, no more. And that's really what's going on here. The Emperor, the world, some kind of a cycle here has looped itself 360 and you're ready to move on. You've seen the whole complete circle and now you're going to start something new. So the next card we get is an ace. The Ace of Wands, right? And it's interesting because I get in here, which I didn't notice before, is because the Ace of Wands, right, that's that phallic symbol of the sex and all of that. But beyond that, we have the picture frames of the 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, you know, winter, and going through those motions. And I feel like this was maybe long overdue. This ending that you had coming is long overdue because this energy is really lingering into the next, but nonetheless showing that you are prepared. You're prepared on a physical level to leave. Not only mental, I think you're mentally gone, meaning you were there, but you were mentally done for a while, but physically now it's come, it's ended, you know. And the next card we get to go on the sex side of things is the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is really about putting your, like as a female, going in there and trying to impress that man, and she's looking in that direction, in the future direction. She ain't looking back. So you may have a situation where you have someone that's on the heels here of interest. And I mean, that's what we're trying to tune into, right? So it's basically showing that we have some seasonals here. We may have a season or 2 to get through before we're ready to feel vibrant and fresh for that next person, but we do get there nonetheless. Now the next card we get is the 7 of Swords, and the 7 of Swords is about betrayal. Someone's been betrayed here, and a sense of pissiness within that, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if that's from the past, but nonetheless that's still lingering. Okay, we're still hanging on to that feeling. The next card I get is the Wheel next to that, and that's signifying the sexual side of things. Now, this roof is supposed to be where we put how we meet our next partner. So it seems like there's going to be a lingering effect from this past relationship before we can really get into the mode where we're trying to attract someone else. Now, the wheel is there to symbolize that whether you're in the mode or not, things are going to start happening. And it might be those fateful things that have to warm you out of the bitterness, that you might be carrying some bitterness forward here. And I'm not saying it's not unwarranted. It's just lingering for a long amount of time here, okay? So as we get into the house cards, the house is going to symbolize where you're going in the future, your next relationship. Now, when I first pulled, I got the 17, which is the star, right? When I first pulled it, they're like, that's about direction. Where are we going to go from here? And that's really the overwhelming essence of what I'm getting from all of this, is like, we just don't know where to go, what to do, or how to do it. Now, in the background here, we see a shadow of a couple, you know, holding hands. So we want that, but we're so confused at this point, and I feel like this is some kind of a, even though I feel like you were, as a Libra female, I feel you were the aggressor here and saying that's it, but not really thinking about the future, right? So the next card on top of the star is the Hermit. And the Hermit is really about going inside and feeling sorry for yourself, seeing couples outside and going, I wish that I'm missing that part, but not the partner. You're missing the romance, the connectedness, the physical parts. But, you know, so really having a sense of feeling sorry for yourself within that. So being confused about which way to go, and amongst that on a physical level, just wanting to have the physical partner there, just so you can at least have sex. That's kind of the sense I'm getting. You know, at least I could have sex, and then I could deal with the other stuff, as you know, later. I just want sex, and not really knowing whether or not, you know, there's someone worth going out and getting that for. Now, the next card I get is 21. So we have two world cards here. One on the romance side, which really depicts a different meaning, but nonetheless, you know, needs to be brought forth. So the world is about burdens and stressors and things that get heavy in the relationship. And I get a sense too from you that you've kind of backed off, you know, from this relationship. And even though you're wanting to get back into a physical relationship and missing that part of it, there is a lot of burden here that has actually been lifted from you. So I don't feel you're burdenless, but you're feeling the lift in that one area nonetheless. You know, you may have more that compensate for that because of the split, but in that area, you're feeling a lift because you go, yeah, at least I don't have to deal with that part. But for the single part of you during the February time, I do feel that you're very much in a depressive mode. I mean, this is, I'm not saying you need to get out of it. You need to work your way through it, and you're doing that. And somewhat feeling lost within that. So the world card again, and then on the sex side of things, we have the Two of Wands. So that's the introduction, right? That's wanting to get to know someone on a physical level and actually having the opportunity to do that. Now, the Two of Wands is really about that flame of passion that gets reignited. So you seem to, and I feel like there's a stretching out of this dealing with the relationship in the single side of it part. I feel like that stretches longer than it could or should, but nonetheless, you deal with the stuff, you feel it, and you go through all that whole process. And then there's like, oh, I wish I had that, and then feeling the burdens and realizing you got to get back in the game, and then doing so, and then finding someone to exhibit that with, that physical side. Now, the next card I get is the Four of Wands. Now, if we look back to the star card and when I got spiritually here, what direction am I going to take? We got to make sure we know exactly what we want over this time of being single, because I feel a sense of diving back into the direction you just came from. Now, I don't know if that's good or bad. I do not know. you yourself will instinctively know, yes, I will put, it's given me time to think. I've given it time to sink in. This, I truly, deeply down in the deepest depths of my stomach, know I can or I cannot go in that direction. And I feel like that time is going to give you that answer. But nonetheless, we have a Four of Wands that kind of stands out here. It doesn't really fit. But we may have something in our midst here that makes us want to take the next step. Now, is that going backwards? Because they said, take note of that direction. Where's she going? So it's either forward or backward. So we've got to be aware of this energy of wanting to go and get united. Is that from the past? We want to be reunited with the past, or do we want to go to the future? Now, to expand on that card, the Four of Wands, we get the Six of Swords. So that's interesting because that brings up distance within. Now we have this couple connecting, but the woman, her just hugely distant in the mind. She may be physically there in the body, but her mind is elsewhere. So we want to make sure we know what's going on here, because I could see that fitting if we're going backwards, because we're just getting what we want, right? And it's right under the Hermit. And the Hermit, look at these two. The Hermit like this, right? So we're right under the Hermit, and then we're getting it. We want it, then we get it. And where's the quickest way to get it, right? From an ex. So just be aware of that energy. Like I said, I don't know. The next card, the last romance card we get is the Magician. So the Magician really puts the power back in your hands. It puts it in your hands. So I feel like the Libra here, I feel like I don't feel as good or bad. I feel if it's your decision, you want to make it, you know what you're doing. Use your brain, use your heart, and use your mind, and don't let your instinct go by the wayside. Because we have all we need to get where we want to go. This is what this card says. We have what we need to get where we want to go. And this bugger's pointed to the past. He's pointed back to this Emperor. So be aware of that. You have the tools to deal with the Emperor, okay? Now, on the sex side of things, we have the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is a sneaky little card, okay? Now, I get an okay sense here. Like I said, I get a neutrality. It is all up to you, really. You hold the power of this to bring it back or send it away. You really just have to define if this makes you happy truly. And like I said, there's a spacing here in the single part of who you are, the singleness, you know, that we have some time here to do some thinking. Did we go in the right areas? Did we make the right choices? We go back in a physical sense and we gain that sexual side that we want, but I don't get a sense. Well, the Two of Wands kind of symbolizes the communication, wanting to talk, wanting to know more, wanting to get to know more. And then the passion, right? So it reignites, boom, they're in the bedroom, boom. Where are you going to go? The Magician is the power to make the decision. And now you got to decide. Now the Seven of Wands is indulging again in the physical side of things, but we got to be aware, because this one really, my definition of it is being preyed upon. Okay. Now that is my definition I assigned to this card. You have to decide whether or not that's where you sit. If you don't feel that's where you sit, then you go for what you feel. But for the most part, this is really open-ended, and the universe is going. It really is what direction you're going to take. That's what the universe said. Where's she going to go? It is up to her. This is really a Two of Wands kind of situation where we truly are left or right. And this is where we decide where we're going to go, and we have to do it thoroughly. So hopefully that time, I feel like time is spanned here. I feel like you get that time span. I think it's just a matter of making that decision, what direction. So not really seeing anything come in your way to conflict this. I feel just a greater energy of the Emperor coming through here, but a time span where, yeah, the break is given, and they're not giving me much info on the other side of you, which is interesting because usually they give me, it's just yeah, really blanking out on the partner. So it is all up to you, and I do not have any information to deal with that. Only you do, and only you have to live with that decision, right? And the major thing you need to know is that you do have the tools you need to deal with this relationship, and it's going that way. All the tools, he's looking that way. So there is really no left road. It's all right. It's just whether or not we want to be single or deal with this person is really what I'm getting. And if we decide to do that, we just really have to start putting in a little more work, because we got the tools. We just got to work at it. And there seems to be a lot of burdens here that may get in the way. So keep that in mind. You know, keep it in mind. You can't just make everything better all at once, and I think people understand that, but there's a lot of burdens on the relationship. And if your mind is truly wanting to advance this, you really have the tools that you need to get there. You just have to start implementing them and moving forward from that. And whatever deception happened here was really fated ground, was there to make you realize something. So you have to realize what that realization is. You have to understand what that realization is. Rethinking, maybe just going along on autopilot and then not knowing. And so now you have to engage on a deeper level, be more involved in the relationship. That's one scenario. You know, is that what's going on here? And you know, this time away, how has it helped you or not helped you? How does it help you make you look at your partner? You know, because a lot of times space helps you understand motivations better. So yeah, again, they're blocking the other partner right out. So there's something strictly, the information you have is everything that you need to make these decisions. So there is nothing that I sense that is not illuminated here. I think you've got all the secrets. I think everything that's been told to you is enough to make the decision in an informed way. So you just need to do that. So a big decision for the Libra female, single. And hopefully that helps you some way. I feel like it's really just you having to understand the process of what happened. There was something happened here that brought you to that decision to take that stand, and that's something purely within the relationship needed to be worked out. So hopefully you guys do that and make that decision and you go forward in a good way, because it's all there for you. So for the Libra female in a single relationship, you know, in a single situation, seems like there's more of the same, but in a completely renewed way going forward. So happy Valentine's Day. Take care, have fun, and be kind.